Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Matt Capper. There's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Unfortunately, it's not a video I wanted to make or ever thought I'd need to make, but it's one that I wanted to speak towards because it involves a good dear friend of mine who I've known since virtually day one in her endeavor towards content creation and Raid Shadow Legends. I've been a fan, I've been a supporter, I have been just a brother to her in this whole thing, especially early on. Unfortunately, with her move to Romania and us working completely different, obviously living completely different schedules, I don't see her and I don't see Odd One nearly as much as I used to, which is unfortunate. Odd One used to stay up until like 4 or 5 in the morning with us and party. I, you know, I I was there since month one. I've gotten a nice little first with her Twitch, and she's leaving Raid. And the reason why she's leaving Raid is because she's burnt out with Raid. And I want to first say thank you, Ivy. You, admittedly, I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. You know that. And I don't watch a lot of shard pull videos. You know that. But I have watched your videos that were not shard pulls. I've watched a couple of shard pull ones just because of the amusement of it all. But mostly I stay away from those. And I don't watch a lot of any content creators videos. But certainly in Twitch, there's a core group of people I've always been a part of supporting, and you are among the first and foremost of that group. And I appreciate the entertainment you've given me as part and what you've given to the community at large. I'm gonna say that when it comes to building a community and harboring a community, you're probably one of the most important creators in the game. And the game is infinitely indebted to you, and probably a lot worse without you. Unfortunately, I don't think they think the same way. And it's unfortunate because I feel very passionate about what you do. And I was very happy to support that. And I continue to be happy to support that as you move from Raid. And I want to say that first, because first and foremost, I'm losing a friend in the game, though not losing a friend. Period. I even started playing Infinite Magic Raid as a form of support. We don't know if we're gonna try Eternal Evolution as well. Let's baby steps here, but at least then I can make an excuse to be in her, be in her chat on Twitch on those times when I'm working from home in the afternoons, and. I'm sad. I'm sad that it's happening. I'm sad that we're losing Ivy from Raid, and she's quitting Raid. She's not just quitting the creation of Raid content. She's quitting Raid, and I'll tell you that her primary reason, and she'll even said it, is that she's bored with it, and the only reason she stayed with it is because of the community. And I think at some point, and whether she kind of alluded to it, is for a long time, a lot of content creators, including herself and a few others I could name easily, when you do this for a living, when your sole income is content creation, it's a big step, because Raid has made millionaires. Not a lot, but it's made people money. It's made people have a career. And whether it's Ivy, Odd One, whether it's bigger name Ash, who is diversified, he's got companies and he's got 2 major channels on games and stuff like that. Chosen, Darth, who's is actually probably one of the more successful in trying other endeavors as other than just Raid. Deadwood, who I know he does some I believe free talking. Maybe he doesn't. He's like, no, you're lying. But I believe he does freelance work of other things, acting, voice acting, that sort of thing on the side. But he is also, of course, a full-time content creator. And just these. And did I say Hell Hades? Obviously, the most obvious one. And that whole team that he's now employed with his success on the website and in his channel. And for all these people, it's obvious the Raid brings in a ton of money. And if you look at the views of most content creators who are Raid content creators versus what they other do, whether it's on Twitch and you see how many people they pull, or whether it's whether it's on YouTube, there's a significant difference, and it's a scary difference because especially on YouTube, views is money. It's not a one to one, but views is money. Retention, the time they watch, whether they're YouTube Prime or all that stuff comes into play. But essentially, views are money. That's the most important thing to talk about and consider. And Ivy's willing to let go of that to be happy or happier in her daily life, creating content for games that she enjoys playing. And I wish you the most of luck, Ivy. I hope that each and every one of you that watch this video or watch the other videos in tribute to this, go and support her. Join her other channel, her gacha channel. Um, watch this channel. Watch the videos, even if it's not a game that you play. Maybe it's a game you would like to play because of her content or any of the others I've mentioned or anyone else you know. YST just kind of announced that he's full time now. I think Victor. I feel like Victor did that sometime too. But anyway, like support these. YouTube is free. Watching it is free. Help her out. So that's the first and foremost. That's the most important. The second thing is, does it signify anything? And the answer to me is not really. No. I don't think that any one content creator, whether Ivy or even if it was even if it was Hell Hades quitting Raid, signals the demise of Raid. I don't think this is a writing on the wall type thing. I hear it all the time. I've been hearing it for 3 years. Oh, this whale quit the game because the game's dead. The game's not dead. Still makes 10 million a month, hundreds of millions a year. It's gonna have a shelf life. At some point, it's gonna die. Maybe that is this year. Maybe it's 2023. Maybe it's 2025. And I think that everyone who is a full-time content creator or wants to create content in general probably should be diversifying anyway and trying to find something else that tickles their fancy. I've even looked and kind of tried to decide. I looked at Ace a bit. I was thinking about Ace. Unfortunately, by the time I joined on to the Ace crew, it was kind of in a downward spiral of just doing some pretty crappy things, and there was some pretty crappy gates that just didn't sit right with me, and so I'll keep looking, or not. I mean, I don't need this. Ironically, the money I make is the money I put into the game. So, and I know I've put way more than I've made. So, quitting the Raid would probably make me money, but I think that we also don't talk about the number of people who have joined. I think there's this real, oh my God, Ivy left Raid, and yes, it is a try. I already said, as I already said, but there's also like Nub Raids now join the game. That's a big content, great influencer that has joined recently. There's a ton of content creators that join all the time. Some of those receiving really good success. Some of them just kind of doing the grind, just kind of doing their thing, whether it's on Twitch or whether it's on YouTube. So I think I don't think that's an indicator of health for the game, but I do think it's an indication of perception of them, of the developers, is that it's irrelevant to them. They don't care. They really truly don't care who joins, who leaves. They just announced Ronda Rousey. There was a time when we even got a whiff of this before it happened. Nothing in the content creator chat. I learn most of my news now from people that are data mining or leaks from within their moderator group, far before I learned from our content creator group, which obviously just goes to show you how much they really give a shit. Obviously, the leaks coming internally, so there's friends telling a friend, probably in one of the other communities, that then leaks their way to us. They put stuff in the game that can be data mined. They know it can be data mined, and they still put embargoes and make a big deal if someone breaks an embargo. I mean, you saw the infamous Hell Hades losing the test server for a month because he broke one of the terms of service by letting a fellow content creator who was part of the HH network test things out for the website, and all the hoopla that went along with that. And he broke the law, and I said in my video about it, he broke it, and that's too bad. But the thing is, that's more important to you than the fact that all the shit that they learned was mined before. Anyway, I don't want to rant too much. I'm sure I will. I apologize if it gets too ranty, but and we're gonna move. I mean, it's pretty Ivy, but we'll take you off the screen because so what I feel about Raid is definitely, in my opinion, it has hit its half life. Meaning, in my mind, and maybe I'm using the wrong term for it, but to me, it's past its peak, and it's starting to slide down. And I could be wrong, but I just feel like you see the game ramping up its monetization, and changing things to be more expensive, and that to me tells me right away that they're trying to maintain revenue, and whatever that revenue number is, and probably trying to increase revenue, but at least maintain it, and probably because they have a board and it's a publicly traded parent company, it's probably, unfortunately, they have to pretty probably aggressive growth needs in the game. I mean, they're paying they're paying Jeff Goldblum and Ronda Rousey's in the game, and they did, of course, Simple, and they did Ninja. I mean, they're pulling these celebrities, progressively. Well, not progressively, but I think Ninja's probably bigger than Simple, depending on where. But you pull an esports guy, you pull a Fortnite, streaming guy. Now you're pulling a former MMA, now wrestler. Um, Anything to create boom in this game, create new customers, and the frequency of that's increasing, and the frequency of all these events. I mean, we must have had 6 events in a week, and it's not just Black Friday events. It's not just because of that. It's not just it's everything. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. But what's more frustrating, on top of that, so let me hold off, let me back off. So what I see from this is we're past the halfway mark. So maybe this game has 8 years. I think we've reached the peak and we're on the downhill, and you're going to see them try to continue to draw more and more revenue from the game. And what that is doing is that is the straw that broke the camel's back, and that's why I talk about this. When we talk about why Ivy left, why I think she left, why she said she left, uh, to me, all that's great. But if this game had a nice maintenance mode, I don't think any of or most of the people who have would have quit. If it's a simple login for half an hour a day and play, and then when something cool comes back, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you spend more and more time, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, or on the weekends, and then you ease back into a maintenance where you're just kind of doing the dailies. And that is so hard to do in this game because, oh my god, I wanted a Crizia. Oh my god, now there's Elva. Oh my god, now there's Trunda 10x. There's a Mortal Macabre 10x. There's a I don't even remember them all. There was another Void guy that was just over and over and over again, and it's just one after the other after the other. And you see how CVC has been completely incentivized to be a whale to spend. It's all about spending more money. And even this one right here is the most blatant example of it all. The guaranteed champion that they have been doing for 2 years now, suddenly is a 20. It's been what, 15 the whole time, 12 or 15 the whole time, and now it's 20. Why is it 20? And they don't even do it right. So first off, can we just talk about this? No, I'm not going to buy that. It's a ripoff. First off, I can buy what? So 9, 11, 12, 13, 16. So that's 16, right? Right? So you offer 20. You just had a bunch of events, so people have been draining their shards. And and now you don't even have enough packs. You don't even have enough ways to get to 20 to be able to get this thing. Now, to get this guaranteed champion, that ends in 9 hours. Granted, there was Cyber Week and there was Black Friday and there was a ton of Sacres. But even so, for example, you had one day of Crizia and there was not enough Void shards to be able to be purchased to get a Crizia. There was these multi-packs, and if you had a lot of multi-packs and you'd already opened up 100 shards, maybe you had the opportunity for a guaranteed, and maybe it would be her. That's a lot of maybes, but you're not even doing it right. You're bleeding us, and you're not. It's like you're using a vein instead of an artery. The arteries. Anyway, so the straw that broke the camel back. You've got all these tournaments. You've got them dogpiling one after the other. It's very difficult when you're playing a game, especially when you're creating content for a game, to not keep up with the Joneses. I tell you right now, I am so far behind in the champions that I have to do, but I have to think of CVC. I have to think of champion chase tournaments. I have to think of champion training tournaments. I have to think of what's the next. I got lucky because it's epic. I actually pulled him, so I don't have to. I don't have to fragment him, fuse him. All these fusions. So you need to have resources to be able to fuse, and if not, you got to spend more and more and more. And I'll show you here how many champions are still waiting to get videos. I just dropped the video on Mistrider. That's my last video. I still have Emo Tuhawk. I still have to do a video on. I'd like to start doing videos on some of these champions that don't necessarily need videos, but to complete the collection of mine in the I Built Them series to have every epic built. But look at the new ones. I finally was able to get Skrank, which is nice. I still have Aina. I still need to do some content on. Haven't had a chance. Ruella is next up. I had to steal some of her gear, so now I got to fix that. But here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 champions. I got a video, but there's no time to even deal with this. I can't level these up because I've already. I mean, I don't even need Bad Al, but I was crushing. I said, "Oh, it's a tournament. I might as well just burn a bunch of the thing, make some room," because I was capped out. I had no room for champions. So I finally did a whole bunch of training to get them out and get these all the 6-star and all that. And but now I don't want to go any further because I got to worry about CVC on Tuesday, and I got to have champions to level up for that. It's just never ends. And the fact that it never ends, the fact that the Hydra takes 20 minutes with more and more RNG, the fact that there's been some subtle changes in Doom Tower, and now the levels 1 to 10 I can't even speed run because you throw in stupid little quirky champions that are easy to kill but not one shot, and just over and over and over, and you just try to get me in this game longer and longer. And yet it hasn't made me quit, but it just made Ivy quit. And it's been a problem in the game forever, and until you fix it, this is going to keep happening. So is the game probably, in my estimation, the game probably still has 3 to 4 years left of shelf life. It'll at some point they'll realize that they cannot maintain the level of money that they're putting into this game, and then they'll have to either fire people or have something new making money to pay the salaries, right? Of some 700 employees. So what is that a month, right? That could be 700,000 a month in salary. I don't know how much that. Plus, you got to kick up kids up to a public company, and there's a lot. There's a lot of happening, and Raid needs to slow down. We don't need new features. We need improved quality of life. We need improvements on champions. We need the ability to play this game in small increments and still find enjoyment in the game with occasional new things, new stuff. And if you can get that pace, you might get some of these players back. But I have a feeling you don't care. You haven't heard. You're tone deaf to the message. And I'm going to leave you with this, as this was really about Ivy quitting and not about me getting on a soapbox. But when you have one of your first content creators, probably the longest serving content creator in Chosen, and he's, what is he at? He's probably 19 million player power. Let's see. Bam, nailed it. 19, wow. Do I win both showcases? Anyway. 19 million player power. So this is a guy he spent. Chosen spent. You don't get to 19 million player power free to play. He's very efficient, and so he has the ability, but he probably hasn't spent other than maybe the gem pack in a very long time. Very long time. And I'll tell you that's why, because I watched a video of his very recently, one of his news updates, and lo and behold, he was grading a pack out that was the baby pack of one of the Black Friday, or I think it was a Cyber Monday. And mine's worth 99 and his was worth like 29. And that's how you know a player hasn't spent, when you see what packs they're being offered, which I've always thought was the shadiest thing you've ever done. And the fact that you keep doing it and you keep making people who spend more, it's worth less to them, diminishing returns on purchases, is absolutely the scummiest thing you guys do. If you just stopped doing that and nothing else, and never stopped anything else, I'd be fine. But the fact that you do that just absolutely burns me. Enticing new players to spend, they should get their own packs that I don't get once you spend money, like your Weekend Warrior. But better, they should have Warrior Circle or whatever. They should have a legitimately good, like a $20 pack that's worth $120 is their one-time spend, and then they're in. But you should never grade the tiers of spending packs and punish whales, punish people who want to spend in your game. But again, I wasn't here to soapbox, although I have incessantly. The point being is 19 million player power. He spent money. He has been a resource for you, and now he hasn't spent for at least a month or 2 months. I think it might even take 2 months to get down. It might take a month per, so at least 2 months. And I would probably argue it's probably 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. I tell you, he hasn't spent a lot of money in this game for a year. I know that for a fact. Why? Because he doesn't see the value in it. And shouldn't that tell you something? That if one of your original content creators, a guy who has spent enough money to be, I know how much I've spent, and he's a million player power lower than me. And while he also has gotten a little more resources, he's been part of the tier 3 program for longer than me. Maybe that's 2 or 3 million player power difference, but that still gives me a pretty good idea of what he spent in the game. And now for the last year, he's stopped. All but pretty much stopped. So these are indicators. These are easy indicators for you because we're here and we're part of the program. And when Ivy's leaving and Chosen stops spending, and not the only ones, plenty of them, shouldn't that tell you that maybe there's something that you need to do? Look at the Black Friday pack. I'm gonna rant. I'm sorry. I have to. There's so many things I want to say. And Ivy sparked that because I was keeping it in, because you guys get mad at me when I do rant videos. I was doing the raid rants videos, and then you're like, no, all you do is whine, so I stopped doing them. But now it's all pent up, and Ivy brought it out. Thanks, Ivy. I love you, but thanks. The Black Friday packs 2 years ago were really good. Last year they weren't as good, arguably, but they weren't as good. But last year at least there was more of them, and so you could pick and choose what you want to spend. This year they've been, they're good value, but they're not black. They're objectively worse in value than they were last year, which is, I would say, objectively worse in value than the year before. Which I think, and if I recall, is objectively worse than the year before. Though you've increased the frequency and the amount of packs, so yeah, now I can buy 10 Black Friday packs instead of 1. But it's not as good. And this trend of just bleeding us, the sacred here, just bleeding us more and more and more. You're going to find a lot more people are going to be either like Ivy. They're going to quit and they're going to move on. I'm not talking the whales. The Krakens are viruses. No offense. I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that in a biological way. A virus comes, spreads, consumes, moves on. Because it always needs a living host. So a Kraken will spend as much money in the game to get as far ahead in the game as possible. And guess what? When you do that, you reach the end quicker, and then you move on. But for the majority of us who want to just play this game for 10 years, boy, you sure make it hard. And at some point, you're gonna do something that is our breaking point, and you just did it for Ivy. And they're going to quit, or you did it for Chosen and he's going to stop spending. And either way, you've now lost 2 content creators, and that's just a sample of what's happening in the game. So I'm sure Plarium isn't watching. I know like Banana Jam and maybe whoever it is that takes care of the YouTube account, maybe they'll watch, maybe they'll see it, Ivy's anyway. But I don't think they'll learn from it. I don't think they'll be able to pay it forward and say to the developers. And I don't think the developers care. And I certainly don't think the shareholders give a rat's ass about how this game is played, so long as it keeps bringing them revenue. And that's why you see these pushes happen more and more frequently. So while I hope this is an opportunity for reflection, unfortunately, Raid did poison Ivy. I like that. You like that one? and we have all lost because of it. So those are my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching the video. Please be kind, be safe. We'll see you in the next one.